Hey guys, Excoundrel here. Today I'm going to be talking to you about one of probably the most fun builds to play right now. It's called Space Jam, or Jam Jam, or Darius Slam Dunk, or whatever you want to call it. But most people call it the Space Jam build. The build revolves around a level 6 build, and I'll talk about that when we get there. Now, I'm showing you the early game right now, so this can go, right? So the early game, the ultimate early game is this. So if you can get this in the early game, you're absolutely smurfing. Jace probably more likely to be 1-star. You can play Graves over Jace if you don't find Jace, but this is like the ultimate early game start. Then you want to go and add Xin Zhao and Rakan, because it's going to give you some extra CC and the protector bonus for your Xin Zhao and Rakan, which is nice. And then if you want to slam items, I will talk about which items to slam early on as well. So this is the start that I've got, right? What I end up doing in the early game is giving Poppy the items that I would otherwise give Jace. Jace is very flexible on items. He can have a multitude of things, but I just really love Bramble Vest because it's just a great item to help keep Jace alive in the late game. And also when it comes to Darius items, you can actually slam certain Darius items early. Rabadons, you can put on him early. You can put a QSS on him or a GA. Like, there is a bit of debate about what the best defensive item for Darius is, but I quite like QSS because it means that he can dunk uninterrupted. And then you can either go Jeweled Gauntlet or another Rabadons. It really just depends on what you get. It's very flexible, but 1 Rabadons and 1 Jeweled Gauntlet or 2 Rabadons is like the ultimate. I'm going to put the build that I had this game, which was just double Rabadons with a Quicksilver Sash. Jace items, like I said, are very flexible. So Jace items, in this particular game, I ended up getting a Zeke's and a Locket of the Iron Solari, which I had on Poppy, and then I transferred to Jace. But the prime Jace items would be something like Dragon's Claw and Bramble Vest. So what we're going to do is we're going to now transition. We get rid of the Poppy, and then we bring in the items that I had on Jace. I'm going to put the items that I think are best on him. But I had a Locket of the Iron Solari, but basically Jace is flexible. He just wants to take defensive items for the most part. If you can get a Shojin's on Rakan, that's brilliant, a little bit of extra CC. And we're obviously going to bring in our other champions now as well, including the Kassadin. And then we're also going to bring in the Ashe. Okay, so this is what the build looks like at level 6. When you get to level 6, you are literally just rolling until you 3-star almost everything. Darius is a priority. Jace is a priority. Kassadin is a priority. Like, this is the ultimate 3-star. Like, if you get these guys 3-star, you're doing great. You don't need to go to level 7. You don't need to go to level 7. But if you do, you have 2 options. You can play Jhin for the sniper bonus, which would be good if Ashe was level 3. If Ashe isn't level 3, I would recommend adding a Wukong. Wukong just gives you the Vanguard bonus for Jace and makes him tankier and adds a bit of extra CC to this composition. This is really strong. This composition is insane and is especially good versus mechs. And what I will show you is the way to position versus mechs. So obviously Darius wants to reset his dunk as much as possible, which means going against lower HP targets. If you leave Darius at the front versus mechs, you're going to lose. What you want to do is you want to move everything except for your Xin Zhao, really, and maybe your Wukong, to the back line versus mechs. And what's going to happen is Darius will start dunking the Kai'Sa, dunking the Shaco, and you'll start to win. But for the most part, your positioning can stay pretty much similar. Something like this. And that for me worked perfect. Sorry. More like this. That for me worked perfectly fine. So this is Space Jam. Gonna go through a 2x game and talk about how I played this and what you guys need to do at every step. So when it comes to carousel priority, I like 2 items. I like Chain Vest and I like Rod. I generally would recommend trying to go for Chain Vest as much as possible, really because it allows you to pivot into lots of compositions. Chain Vest is a very hotly contested item because people like it for mech, people like it for reroll compositions, people like it for GA. I would say that Chain Vest is probably just the highest tier individual item that you can go for when you are playing any kind of composition. So early game, what you're looking for is Graves and Darius. You want to get that combo going. You want to try and make as much econ out of your space pirates as possible. You can combo that with a 2-star Malphite, a 2-star Poppy, pretty much anything, to be honest with you. But you do want to try and find that space pirate econ combo, because any extra gold that you can find is obviously going to be fantastic. Now, This right here basically told me that I was playing Space Jam. I got 2 Darius on round 1-4. If I'm lucky, you know, I end up getting a 2-star Darius early on and I can actually win streak with that. I was not lucky, just to spoil that. And in terms of itemization, there's a lot that you can do with Space Jam. What I actually like doing personally is throwing a unit on and then just having Bramble Vest on in the early game. So I could either put Poppy or I could put Malphite on with Bramble Vest early. Both of them are fine because they have a shield, so they make use of Bramble Vest quite nicely. I chose Darius at the start here. I chose Malphite at the start here. What you want to make sure is that you're putting Bramble Vest on a unit that you can give up or you can sell, because that Bramble Vest is going to want to go on to Jace eventually. It's not an item that is designed for any of your main carries. So Graves can hold items. Jace can hold items, Poppy can hold items, Malphite can hold items, but Darius needs specific items, and Jace will carry those items later on. So right here, you can see that I actually just threw the BF Sword on Graves, and I have the Bramble Vest on my Poppy. And we are starting to sort of do some serious damage now. We're starting to take a couple of units, get a couple of bits of econ here and there, which is really nice. And we go to level 4. Now, there is a really important lesson that you need to learn when you're playing Space Jam or you're playing Mech or whatever. What you need to do is assert your dominance. You need to assert your dominance over the rest of the lobby, and the way that you do that is you type me Space Jam or me Jam Jam into the chat. And then everybody knows. Everybody knows that you are going to play Jam Jam. Which is why I needed to do it after this round, because this guy had a Kassadin, he was playing Celestials, he had a Rakan. I needed to assert my dominance by saying me Jam Jam in the chat. Okay? So this is a really important lesson. It's just to spook your opponents, let everybody know that they are contesting you if they want to go for Space Jam. And Space Jam is not a build that you want to contest someone on, because it's a 3-star orientated build. So yes, you need to assert your dominance by saying me Jam Jam or me Space Jam in the chat. And you saw me do it right there. I think this was integral to my success in this game. So I find the Jace, which is really nice, but my Poppy is 2-star, so she's going to make better use of the items than my Jace is right now. And plus, I want to have that Vanguard bonus. I will let you in a little secret. 2-star Poppy with a Bramble Vest in the early game is basically unkillable. So I'm just going through and scouting my opponents at this point in time. Again, like I said, it's very important that you don't get contested for Space Jam, because Space Jam requires a lot of 3-star units. Yeah, you can actually get a 3-star Darius if someone else has already got a 3-star Darius. And yes, you can get 3-star Rakan and 3-star Xin, etc., etc. But you cannot get 3-star Jace, you cannot get 3-star Kassadin if someone else is contesting you, especially if they manage to get 4. If they get 4, it basically makes it impossible for you to get a 3-star 3-cost. So I would thoroughly recommend, if someone is going to contest you on this build, you either try and establish your dominance by forcing them out of the game early. And that means, I guess, having a good econ so you can start rolling quicker. And so really you have to make an informed decision if you're going to contest someone for Space Jam. Is your economy better? Can you start rolling quicker? How many of the individual units have they got? And are you gonna be prepared to all in to try and take their units away? It's very risky to do that. I will tell you that it's very risky to do that. But obviously it is a decision that you've got to make. You also have to have a look at items. If you just have the better Space Jam items, they may just say, okay, I can't really compete. Speaking of Space Jam items, I got a Darius with a what's it called? Rabadons, which is a really, really good start. I actually sell the Caitlyn here. I think this kind of weakens my composition overall, but it does allow me to go to level 5. And obviously at level 5, I'm going to want to start rolling as much as possible. So I think we're in a pretty good spot. Like, I think we're losing some rounds, but we're not losing by a huge amount. And you can see my Poppy is taking a long time to get beat here. It is just the red buff that takes me out. But I will happily take losses of just 1 unit, especially at this stage in the game when I'm just looking to roll as much as possible. I finally get a 2-star Darius, which is important. And what another really, really important rule of this composition, and this is something that I think I credit most of my success to, okay? Alongside me Jam Jam, what you need to do is when you start the dunk train, so you won't see it for a little bit, but we might see it later. When you start the dunk train, you need to start singing Space Jam. And I actually was playing this game with a friend of mine called Boff, who I can attest was listening to me Space Jam it out, okay? It's really, really important that you sing the Space Jam song when Darius starts to when Darius starts to dunk, because it just gives Darius the energy that he needs to continue to dunk, okay? So the lyrics go like this. Everybody get up, it's time to slam now. We got a real jam going down. Welcome to the Space Jam. That's all you need to say, all right? That's all you need to say for Darius, and it's going to give him the energy that he needs to essentially win and slam dunk everybody in the game. So later on, together, we're going to sing Welcome to the Space Jam, because it's important for Darius's energy. Now, we were getting trolled a little bit on this game because it was like a full item carousel over and over again, but because we entered a few rounds and lost some HP, we managed to secure another Rabadon's Death Cap, and that Rabadon's Death Cap is going to give us a double Rabadon's Darius, which is actually like... some people like it, some people don't. I like it because it gives you more consistent damage. Jeweled Gauntlet gives you bigger spikes in terms of critical strikes, of course. But I do like double. I do like double Rabadon's Darius. So we actually sell the Poppy now. The reason we sell Poppy is to make eco at 50 gold, and I find a 2-star Cassadin. So there are two ways that I'm going to play now. I'm going to basically slow roll until we hit level 6, or if I find an Ash, I will just actually roll to level 6 sooner rather than later. Unfortunately, we are still losing to certain compositions. The Gwinsus is just hitting us a bit hard. Trapclaw also really like negatively affects Darius. Trapclaw is like really bad for Darius because he gets stunned when he uses his dunk on them. So you've got to hope like Jace or someone else procs the Trapclaw. Like Cassadin, for instance, is a good user to proc the Trapclaw. But yeah, here we go. Welcome to the Space Jam. There you go. We gave Darius the energy that he needed to just dunk everybody. That's what this composition is designed to do. This composition is designed to dunk everybody's heads and make sure that you win. It's really just quite that simple. And also, it's quite an easy comp to play, because once you hit level 5, all you're doing is rolling. Or level 6, all you're doing is rolling. Your order of priority is Darius, then Jace, then Cassadin, and then obviously Xin Zhao and Rakan, but you basically just take what you can get. In terms of items, I just think that the best opportunity for me here right now is to slam a QSS on Darius. It's just going to mean he's going to be able to dunk for free without anybody interrupting him. And then we have a Zeke's for my Jace, which I love. I actually think Zeke's is one of the most underrated items. I think it's fantastic. So I just really love Zeke's. And I'm going to give the tier to my Rakan. The reason I give my tier to Rakan is if I get a BF sword anywhere else, I can get myself a Shojin's, which just means I'm going to get extra CC. So again, we are just like buying everything that looks remotely good for us, which is Xin Zhao's, Rakan's, Jace's, Cassadin's, Darius. We're almost at a 3-star Darius. We're almost at a 3-star Rakan. There is a lot of good options for us coming up right now. So again, you know, everybody get up. It's time to jam now. There we go. Darius did a bit of slamming for us, and he slammed himself to victory again. If you don't want to sing the whole lyrics, you just got to sing "Welcome to the Space Jam," okay? So what I usually do is, because I forget the lyrics most of the time, what we need to do to win the game is just "Welcome to the Space Jam," and then Darius can just start dunking everybody. It's the energy that he needs. It is the energy that he needs to win. This is a complete meme, by the way, guys. You don't have to sing, but I would recommend that you do, because it just makes this comp more fun to play. And if you don't sing, you lose rounds like that. You know, you just lose rounds like that, and that's sad. But yeah, I think overall, right now we're in a bit of a spot where we're just like, okay, let's literally just roll until we find our 3 stars. Now, what I'm going to do here is, because there isn't many good options for me, I obviously want the BF sword, which I lose. The best option for me now, in my opinion, is just to go for the Rakan 3. So Static Shiv Rakan is not ideal, but it's not awful either. Rakan is just getting Rakan, an item on Rakan is just always just going to be a nice bonus rather than anything else. So I'm going to take the Rakan because it's going to allow me to have another Rakan, and it's going to get me to Rakan 3 quicker. The more 3 stars I have, the more likely my chances of success. I'm pretty close to Xin Zhao 3, pretty close to Darius 3. We're nowhere near Jace 3, but we have now got Jace 2, which is really important. So what you're noticing here is obviously when Darius gets locked up on the mech, it's much more difficult for him to win, because he obviously he's never going to slam dunk the mech in its entirety. You could see one of the other things about this build that's a bit awkward is that you have to sometimes prioritize bench space. So I think Ashe is one of the least important units to 3 stars, so I always like sell off Ashes if I have bench space for them. And then I just prioritize in getting my Darius and my Jace, my Xin Zhao and my Rakan to 3-star. But now my Darius is 3-star. Like, we're in real jam territory. Unfortunately, we don't quite win this. The Ashe ends up beating us out. But we're pretty close to it. And also, we're only losing by 1 or 2 units at a time, which means we're sort of keeping ourselves very healthy. And again, on neutral rounds, I'm still happy to roll above 50 gold. There is no reason not to roll above 50 gold because you're not going to get any extra interest. I'm not going to be leveling up either. Like, leveling up would reduce my chances of finding Xin Zhao and Rakan. So I'm just prioritizing right now, rolling, and actually I find a really, really, really good item because what this has now allowed me to do is get a Shojin's on my Rakan. And then it has now allowed me to get a potential Runans, which Shojin's Runans, as you might know, is a very, very powerful combo for mana generation because the bolts, the Shojin's bolts, actually they actually apply the mana generation ticks. So I'm still losing a little bit here. I'm going down to 36 HP, but I'm so close to finding a lot of really crucial 3-stars. So I'm going to roll a little bit just to try and sort of find those 3-stars that I need to get back in the game. Really just looking for Jaces. I'm looking for Xin Zhao's, of course, and then any Kassadins that I can come across. So I rolled down to 30 just because I kind of feel a little bit conscious that we may be sort of going out of the game soon. Or at least we're in a situation where we could be losing. But luckily, welcome to the Space Jam. Jams me through this round, and it's always so satisfying seeing Darius just slam dunk people. So I'm pretty close to some really big 3-star upgrades, which is why I'm rolling pretty heavily here. I'm looking for Jace and I'm looking for Xin Zhao. I roll all the way down to a level where obviously it's killing my entire economy, but finding a 3-star Jace is so important to the success of my composition. And you can see here, like, just the Jace and the Rakan, we managed to beat a Dark Star player out, and now we've got a 3-star Jace. We've got one Xin Zhao away from a 3-star Xin Zhao. And then we're 2 Kassadins away from a 3-star Kassadin. It's just super, super good. So I wanted the Bramble Vest here because the Bramble Vest I was actually going to give to my Kassadin, but I had to go for the Titan's Resolve. I actually think Titan's Resolve is a good item on Kassadin. It increases his damage output, which is very strong. His 3-star damage output is actually insanely good. So it gives him a bit of tankiness, a bit of attack speed, which is always really nice. Just rolling, as you can see. We're looking for Xin Zhao's and we are looking for Kassadins. We find one more Kassadin, so we are now 1 Kassadin away and we are 1 Xin Zhao away. And I pick up the Wukong because the Wukong is going to be able to give me the Vanguard bonus for Jace at level, what's the word I'm looking for? Level 7, because we're level 6 right now. But Darius and Jace right now are just the Slam Jam brothers, and we are just slam jamming our way to victory. We find the 3-star Xin Zhao, which is fantastic. We obviously are thinking about going up to level 7 right now. The reason I'd go to level 7 is because it slightly increases my chances of 3 costs. So going to level 7 would allow me to put in Wukong, and I only need 1 Kassadin. So there isn't much point in rolling for Kassadin, just because like I only need 1 of them. So it's less likely that I get it from rolling, and I'm better off building my economy. Obviously, I'm not like this, and I'm obviously just going to randomly roll for everything. I do manage to slam jam my way to victory here, which is great. Yeah, and I go to level 7. I go to level 7 and I get another Titan's Resolve for Kassadin. If I find Kassadin 3, this game's basically won, in my opinion. So Kassadin 3 is the next on the cards. Once we get him, and we're gonna double Titan's Resolve him, by the way, because I think that makes him very strong. Once we get 3-star Kassadin, I think that we're in a super, super good spot, and I think it's going to be very unlikely that anyone's going to beat us very easily. And what I'm doing is I'm buying up 3 costs in the shop to reduce the number of 3 costs in the pool, and then I'm selling them slowly and re-rolling, trying to find those Kassadins. And you can see, don't quite manage to find the Kassadin on that entire reroll down, but I don't think it matters too much because we just have got some very strong units right now, and we are welcome to the Space Jam time with the Darius just popping off. We knock off one of the Blaster Brawler players. We are like, this is just the power of this composition in the late game. It's just super, super good. So there we go. We actually sell the Wukong to get the 3-star Kassadin. We find 2 of them in the shop at the same time, and now we are purely saving for eco. There is nothing that I can get apart from Ashes, so there is no point to reroll at this point in time. I found all the most important units. Now it's just about saying welcome to the Space Jam, and that is essentially going to win us the game. You can see that there is a very, very low HP lobby. We're in a good spot overall. What I would say is that Trapclaw can be annoying and mechs can be annoying. So when I know that I'm facing up against the mech player, it's very important that I put my Space Jam boys at the back. This Blaster Blood player right here, I think is okay. I mean, if my Darius fails, my Jace makes up for it, and we knock him out. So there you go. Goodbye. Sorry, that was the guy I was playing with, by the way. I knocked him out. I felt really bad. The mech player is the player that I have to be aware of, and this is the mech player right now. So what you're going to see me do is you're going to see me. I think I go for a Runans here for a double. Yeah, I go for a double Runans on my Rakan. Now what you're going to see me do is position my Space Pirates on the back line, because I want my my Space Pirates to essentially get locked up toe-to-toe with the Infiltrators, and I want my Xin Zhao to tank the mech for a little bit. So this is what happens. You're going to see Welcome to the Space Jam happen. We killed all of his Infiltrators, so most of his damage is dead right now. And as soon as we get the mech down, my Jace and my Rakan end up carrying up the game, and we win. There we go. Welcome to the Space Jam. That's the composition. You just jam.